Hi, it's Garry. Welcome to today's live broadcast. Beautiful day here just south of Perth. Look, I'm starting off and I can't talk. Beautiful day here just south of Perth in Western Australia. Today's temperature, I know I start these off and I'm British, so I've got to start off with talking about the weather. Today's temperature currently 17 Celsius. That's 62.6 Fahrenheit, and that's at 8:30 in the morning. We've been having some beautiful days over the past week. They've been that nice. I've even got the shorts out. Not for inside the house, but when I'm going out and about, the shorts are there. I know, very frightening thought, isn't it? Yeah, getting your legs out for people to see, especially after you've had about 3 months without any, so you've got nice, really pale. I've had no sun on them, so they'll soon get tanned up. Wow, I can hear myself, so I know that the microphone's working this week. We've already got loads and loads of comments, so let's go and hit them up now. So the first one we got, David E. Parsons. Now this was there from ages ago. I noticed it, I was setting up about 45 minutes ago, and I saw it there. So welcome, David. David again, hi Garry. I've not received my 146 Mont Blanc citrine back from the repair shop yet, but I did manage to find a very reasonable 145 Mont Blanc citrine to keep me company until its 146 big brother gets back. Oh, awesome. I think I love that. The idea that, and it's something I would do as well. You're waiting for one, so you get something else as like to stand you by, and then you end up using the both of them. I think that's a brilliant idea. So David E. Parsons again, back from the repair shop. Yeah. Chris, good morning from mostly sunny Toowoomba, just having Sunday brunch. Yeah, I've had my breakfast already. I had 3 wheat bix. I did spice them up a little bit today. I put a bit of honey on them. Normally I just have them plain with milk. Just rubbing my hands. My fingers, I think it must be old age because my fingers seem to go quite cold. I'm just adjusting the mic. And let's adjust this camera so you've got me in the shot rather than my ceiling. Ali Rose, hi from Pennsylvania. Welcome to you. Blonde Scales 1, good evening from Arkansas. Andreas, good day all. Blonde Scales 1, I have a package inbound from Down Under. Awesome. I love having packages inbound. I actually had a Temu order arrive. It came yesterday afternoon. It should have been here the week before. But it's nice. So I've now got my camera stood on a nice new little stand. And I've also got a different board. So the board that I've been using is quite big and heavy. And I keep it on the floor behind me when I'm not using it. And it was a pain in the butt. And, there's some ink stains. I'm not overly bothered about the ink stains. But because I was doing an order from Temu, we got like a Temu chopping board. You'll see it in a minute when we cross over to do the writing. I'm quite liking it. It's smaller, that's the key thing. Adia Rose, Blonde Scales 1 from Just Turnings. Ricardo, good morning from London. And Blonde Scales 1, yep, so Just Turnings parcel on the way. I've been loving watching what Stephen's been putting up lately. There's been loads and loads of different stuff going up. I'm slightly off. Let me just level this camera up a little bit. There we go. I've been looking at his website. I saw a pen on there the other day that I pointed to the wife and said, oh, isn't that one nice? Maybe she takes the hint. And I said to her, wouldn't that be nice in a double broad? Again, let's see if she takes the hint. It was a Brooks Blanks material, and it was Alien Execution. Loved the name. And it was in matte. I thought, yeah, let's see what happens though. So I pointed out to her, I can't do much more than that. I also pointed out a Ranga pen. She said, yeah, that's okay, isn't it? So I don't think that one will be incoming, but I might save for that one for maybe later this year or maybe next year. Alia Rose to Blonde Scales 1. Nice. What do you get? Blonde Scales 1. One he had on his site just needed nib and cartridge added. Jim, good evening, morning, afternoon from Harper's Ferry in WV. Welcome to you. Cole Mulder, morning. I'm home today. Awesome. Hopefully you're nice and comfy. That's the problem with sitting in my office, this chair. Not very comfy for talking. Blonde Scales 1, purple, purple mort blue butterfly. I love the names. I say that's why I ordered that. That's why I was pointing it out, saying, look at this one, look at this one. And I put the web page up and I said, look, I'm logged in for you, even if you wanted to go ahead and order it. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Santa, hi all. Ricardo, 8 Celsius in London. Yeah, that's the downside now, isn't it? In the Northern Hemisphere, you're going into winter. David E. Parsons, beautiful evening here, just north of Austin, where it's 90 Fahrenheit or 32 Celsius. Oh, awesome. I can't wait to be getting those temperatures here. Atomic Elf, whoops, here's another comment. Blonde Scales 1, lol. Santa, welcome Santa. It's Saturday night in New York City. I guess I'll fix me a gin and tonic. Do you know, I've got a number of bottles of gin in the cupboard. Not that I've got a problem with gin. I quite like gin. Trouble is, I don't drink that often. They've been sat there for 2 of them for a year. One of them for even longer. One of them's a Japanese gin. One of them is rhubarb and something else, which I've tried that one. That's actually quite nice. And the other one, I can't remember it. I only buy them because they're something different. You know, I'm not really into like standard gins. I like to get, the ones with a bit of flavour where, try out something different. So that's got us off Garry's alcohol hour. David, I've got a brand new 20-pen Aston pen case at our Pelican hub today. That was rescheduled because of the Dallas Pen Show. It was a door prize that I bought off the guy who won it. Awesome. Problem is, I find every time you get something new like that, you got to put pens in it. You got to fill it up. Alia Rose, congratulations. David, thanks. My old case had it. I don't know. I would still fill both of them, me, but that's just me. I'm a bit of a hoarder. Alia Rose, it's the end of season crunch for me as a professional gardener. I'm beat. Yeah, I don't do any gardening. I haven't been allowed to do gardening since, I want to say 27 years ago, maybe a bit longer. My wife, we lived in a place called Gloucester at the time in the UK. And my wife said to me, can you go and pull the weeds out of the garden? So I went and I was thinking, don't like the look of that. That must be a weed. Don't like the look of that. That must be a weed. Oh, I like the look of that one. Obviously that can't be the weeds. So went through, spent about an hour doing exactly as she instructed me, for her to come out and say, you silly person, you've pulled all the flowers out and left the weeds. Well, to me, I liked the look of the weeds. And at the end of the day, all a weed is, it's a plant that's in the wrong place. So, since then, I've never been allowed in the garden. I can go and look at the flowers, but I'm not allowed to touch. Marie, I have October the 23 on my calendar, pre-order for the new Twisby Sky Blue. Is that an eco? Haven't seen that, but saying that, I've not been looking at Twisbys. I have found somewhere over here where they do the Twisby swipe, so hopefully I'll get that ordered in 2 or 3 weeks. Trouble is, I want to make sure that I can order other stuff with it to get over the free shipping, but let's see what happens with that. Blonde Scales 1, hint, lol. Yeah, well, I do try to be. She doesn't like me saying to her, I would like this. She likes hints. So, hopefully, we'll have to see what happens in the future. Blonde Scales 1, I still need to pre-order the Big Seed catalogue from Baker Creek. Jim, anybody order the Lamy 2000 in pine? I haven't yet. I've seen, is it meant to be going out from the 15th, which is what, Tuesday, I think? I think I've seen that, but I've only seen one thing where it mentioned price, and the price was $640, and I think that was US dollars. And if that's the price, it can stay on the shelf for me. As much as I'd like a green one, I'm not going to spend that sort of money. If I was going to do that, I'd rather get another Homo sapiens. But yeah, It's a shame because it's a beautiful looking pen. David, they made the Lamy 2000 in pine. Wow, I need to check that out. Yeah, there are some pictures around. I checked just before I started this with Cult Pens, which is where I normally order my pens from, or expensive pens. And they didn't have that actually listed on their site just yet. Santa just received a Hero 3801. Are you guys familiar with it? I like it, affordable pen. Not that model. I do have a Hero pen. What model is the Hero I've got? Let me just pull up my database. I'm sure I know I've got Hero in here, but whether I got the pen or maybe, but I'm sure I've got a Hero pen. Manufacturers. Yeah, I've got a Hero. I think is it 240 is the model. A Hero 240. Sorry about that. Just move the keyboard so I can get to my mouse. Bond Scales 1. I saw that green 2000, but no way at that price. Absolutely, that's what I was thinking. Alia Rose to Jim. I find the new Lamy 2000 very much meh in looks. I'm sure it writes well though. Yeah, it's just green's my favourite colour. That's why I was thinking about it. David to Blonde Scales 1. What was the price? He asks, hesitatingly. Jim, limited production to something like 5,500 worldwide. I got a discount at Gold Spot. Blonde Scales 1. If I remember right, it was in the neighbourhood of 500 US dollars. Jim, 540. Right, let's go pull up the screen. Let me just get my web browser up first. No, you don't want the phone, you want this. So this is playing up again. So it's not showing you what it should be. So we won't bother with the screen. Don't know why that is. Anyway, 540. Right, so 540 USD in AUD. Can't type today. 540. That's about 800 Aussie dollars. Yeah, I ain't paying that much for a Lamy 2000, as much as I like the look of it. Alia Rose, for that price, a pen needs to give me the shivers. This new Lamy makes me wonder if I remember to organise my sock drawer recently. Awesome! I love that. Oh, that's an awesome saying. I'll have to remember that. David, Lamys are nice, but not that nice. Mont Blancs are that nice, and a few others like Homo sapien. I think I might wait for the price to come down a tad. Yeah, I say there's no way I could justify that. If I was going to pay $800, I would go for another Homo sapiens. I know that's another $500 on top, but I'd rather spend that extra 500 because you get such a beautiful pen. Blonde Scales 1, yep, that's a price Trufe had. Got the email earlier. Andreas, Lamy 2000 in green, I know what you mean. Andreas again, I can't resist, I know, but it's a price. Jim to Andreas, neither could I. Yeah, I don't blame you. If it's something you really want, you know, what's the issue with it? Why not get it? I'm just going to try something. Because that isn't working, let me take this cable over to my iPad. Wrong side, Garry. What I'm just doing, just connecting my iPad because I do also have this set up where I should be able to mirror the screen. Whoops. Because I hate it when I can't show you stuff, but I can show you on here. Let's see if we can get it to come up. Now I've got to find where my mouse is. There we go. There's the iPad. So I'll now use that for driving the rest of today. So I think that's all the comments. We'll come back to them in a minute. Let me just get up the spreadsheet on the iPad. Numbers. So I use something called numbers. We want tournament late 2024. So results of heat number 6. So this was the last of the under 100 Aussie dollars. Wow, it surprised me. The winning pen with 52% of the votes is the Pilot Metropolitan. I honestly thought going into this it would be the Ritmer. But I'm glad it's the Metropolitan because I think it's nice to have those like little surprise type ones. So I'm just going to copy Pilot Metropolitan and move that over. So that finishes the lineup for semi-final number 2, which will be the Platinum Preppy, the Kaweco Sport, and the Pilot Metropolitan. Are you... Oh, no. What's this doing? There we go. iPad screen. I don't know. I'm not very good with technology today. I think I should be fired. So, yeah. Also this week, so we've had some new stuff come in. A few weeks ago, as I said, I was lucky enough to win one of the Pen Addict draws. Let me just take the comment off. We'll go back to the comments in a second. So I won this. This was a Yamamoto paper sample pack. There we go. I'm just going to turn it around so I can read it. So there's some thin paper by Kokiyo, 52 GSM, Sanzen Tomoe River, 52 GSM, Champion Copy, 35 GSM, typewriter paper, 27.9 GSM, and Smooth Onion Skin supports alcohol inks, 40 GSM. So there we are. It comes with a grid there. I'll be doing a review video about this in the coming weeks. Just thought I'd show it because it came in during the week. Back to the comments. Atomic Health and its fiberglass. So yeah, that's I think Macrolon. It's just their like trade name for a type of fiberglass. We've got here a picture. Not sure what it is. I'm not very good with pictures. David, once I get my Citrine 146 back from the shop, I think I'm going to give thanks for what I have and learn to enjoy the pens I got for a while and stop just acquiring them. Yeah, I can see that. I can understand exactly where you're coming from. Sometimes it's just nice to sit still and breathe and just really see what you've got. Andreas, I suppose I got every AL Star I should start a new collection. Absolutely. I mean, that is that's what I would call a collection by having all of them. To me, again, I said this a few weeks ago. Is it Stephen R. Brown? He did something a while back on collections versus accumulations, and I thought that was really interesting. Sorry, I was just loading up my presentation over on the iPad ready for later on. Jim, speaking of Hero, just got a 565 and I've got another 856 on the way. Awesome. I've got to be honest, I love my Chinese pens. I find some of them can be really, really good value. I mean, you'll see some today when we go through the pens. Blonde Scales 1, I'm going to spend dollars on Monday, just need to decide where I'm shopping. Absolutely. Atomic Elf, limited to 5,058. I wonder how long we'll have to wait for retailers to offer a deep discount when there aren't enough moving out the door. Yeah, I mean, to me, 5,000 pens isn't limited. It's too big a number. So, I know I said the same with the Twisby Draco when I got that. I think that was 2,000 pens. That's not limited either. To me, limited, you're talking under 100 pens. Anything over that, I said, but maybe that's just my way of interpreting it. Just refresh the comments. Ali Rose, I'm reeling my spending in. Last big one was the Narwhal Horizon Gaia in a double broad when they donated the proceeds to hurricane relief. Can't beat that, absolutely. I mean, I've been watching the, is it Hurricane Milton now? That's been going through Florida. Absolutely horrendous what's happening with the weather. Is that what, 2 in about 2 weeks or just over 2 weeks? I mean, hopefully that's it. You won't get any more big ones, but can't believe that. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous and so frightening to think of the power that these hurricanes are coming. I was listening to, I think it was Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. They were talking about this, and one of them said they were watching something on TV, and the meteorologist there was in tears because of the speed that it went from Category 1 to Category 5. And I really do feel for those people that are affected by it. Chris, to Atomic Elf, a lot of links I found were dead, so they were listed and sold. Pamela, is it sad that I'm asking for gift cards for Christmas so I can get one? Absolutely not. I think that's the best way to do it. That's what if people ask me what I want, I just said, I just say, just put some money into my PayPal. And what I'll do is I'll use that and I'll buy a nice pen. That's part of the reason why I've got the Lamy 2000. That was through collecting money from people like that. Jim, to Atomic Elf, only time will tell. Yep, I know what you mean there as well. Alia Rose, Snyder to Pamela, gift cards are ideal. No dollars wasted, no awkward returns. Absolutely, completely agree with that. My wife hates it. She thinks it's really boring when you're doing that. She thinks you haven't put the thought in. I don't. I think you've actually put more thought in by doing that because you're giving people exactly what they want. Blonde Scales 1, something like that. I have a friend that used to live in Asheville, NC. Is that North Carolina? I'm slowly learning my American states. And then back to Pamela. Agreed, I think 500 is reasonable for a limited edition. 100 would be extremely limited. Yep, I'm happy with that. Blonde Scales 1. Yep, my Monday shopping is me choosing my birthday presents. Awesome. So what I'm going to do now is switch over to the iPhone camera. Here we go. Oh, we've got one that works. Let me get that cable out of the way. You don't need to see the cable that's trailing all over the desk. So here's the new board. And quite plain. That's fine by me. I like plain stuff. Here's my notepad of testing. This is Midori cotton paper. Very nice, beautiful texture to it. It's slightly cream paper. So the pens I've been using this week. We've got a load of them. We're starting with the Pilot Custom Heritage 92. This is the one I've been using all week. Very nice piston filling pen. I'm going to try and go faster when I'm talking through these because it seems to drag out a bit. But let me know if you want me to talk in more detail about them. So, Pilot Custom Heritage. I can't really talk much when I'm writing because it's going to sound silly. I can either write or I can talk. It's 14 karat gold and it's a medium nib. Price for this pen is about 355 Aussie dollars. First gold nibbed pen I bought. Still love it, still enjoy using it. The ink in here is by Diamine and it's Appletini. Lovely pen. One of the downsides with it is this beautiful slightly transparent black colour, but I struggle to see what the ink level is. So I'm going to try and get a better view of it later on and then decide if this is going out for cleaning or not. Next up, from Jinhao, we've got the Jinhao 992. Now, hopefully, this will write. There's not a lot of ink left in here, so I've taken this out of my daily rotation. You'll see what I've brought in its place shortly. So we've got here a Jinhao 992 with a fine nib. Price wise, $2.22. The ink by Diamine, and it's Velvet Emerald. I do like this ink colour. Very nice. Next up from Kaweco, we've got the Kaweco Sport. This is the dark green one. Here we've got, he says on screen, the converter. I did see a video of that new converter this week. I got to be honest, I was a bit disappointed because I was hoping, you know, that you'd be able to get more ink in it, but it's not. It looks like it's the same ink capacity, which we talked about, and I can't remember, was it last week or the week before? So I have been agitating this. So we've got a Kaweco Sport. This has got a broad nib. Price-wise, we're looking at, he says, looking at his notes, 43 Aussie dollars. The ink by Diamine, and it's merry and bright. Nice ink, which I believe is a chameleon. Could be a shimmer. I can never get them right, but I think this one's a chameleon. Up next, we've got another sport. This one is in transparent white. This one is another chameleon another chameleon ink. Sounded a bit like they're like Culture Club then for a second. Just slowly agitate this as we're talking. This one I've eyedroppered. It eyedroppers quite nicely. Bit of silicone grease around the threads just to be on the safe side. Love this. Love having this eyedroppered because I can see what's in it. Kaweco Sport. It's a 1.1 stub nib. Beautiful nib. I love the nib on this. Price wise, again, we're looking about 43 Aussie dollars. The ink by Diamine, and it's Olive Swirl. I very rarely see a lot of the chameleon or shimmer coming out of this. I just like the base colour. I think it's really nice. Sorry, 1 second. Up next, we're going to Pilot for a Pilot Pereira. So this one is a steel nib. Just swirling this around because it's got another chameleon ink. Problem with this, I don't know if you can see it here. Let me lift this up. Got a lot of that chameleon's got trapped there, and I haven't been able to shift that. So until I take it apart, that's not going to come out. So we don't get as much in there, but I often do see quite a little bit of that coming through. So we've got here a Pilot Pereira. Pre-R-E-R-A. Yep, I spelled that right. It's got a medium nib. Price-wise, here we're looking at about 76 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Tranquility. I can already see that beautiful gold shimmer coming through. Let me just lift this up, see if we can capture that on the camera for you. Absolutely love this. I love the way it looks when it catches the light properly. And it's quite a nice base colour as well. Unusual for me. We're back to Pilot again. This time with the Pilot E95S. Again, one of my favourite pens. So we've got here a Pilot. A little bit of an issue there. E95S. With a medium 14 karat gold nib. The price for this is approximately 215 Aussie dollars. One of the cheapest gold nibbed Japanese pens you can buy. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Cinnabon. Scented ink, I can smell it now as I'm writing. Quite nice. And it's beautiful, nice brown colour. 2 more pens to go. Next one is a Sailor pen. It's the Sailor Pro Gear Slim. Beautiful. I know I keep saying this. I love this blue-green nebula colour. We've got here then a Sailor, Pro Gear, Slim, which is a broad, and it's a 14 karat gold nib. Price for this is 355 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine, and it's a Garland. This is a sheening and a shimmering ink. I often see the sheen, but I very rarely see the shimmer, which is a shame. And that's not just in this pen. No matter what pen I've had it in, I seem to have that same issue, which is really is a shame because it's a beautiful base colour. And when you get that beautiful red sheen come through, not really seeing much of this today. Maybe it's coming through on the camera better. The last pen, virtually identical in looks. That's really where it ends. This is a Jinhao 82. In this, they actually call this green. Now, to me, it's more like a blue, but that's just the way I perceive the colours. This is a cartridge converter similar to that Sailor, obviously with a Jinhao cartridge. Again, I need to post this. This is one I've brought in to replace that Jinhao 992. So we've got here a Jinhao 82 with a medium nib. Price-wise, we're looking at $6.14 when I priced it up on AliExpress 2 days ago. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Bliss. Nice, it's a blue colour, and I've got to be honest, I think it goes really, really well with this pen. So that's the pens and inks that I've been using this week. Let's swap back over to the camera. So, back to the comments. Oops. Blonde Scales 1, need to focus on one or the other. Yep, I know where you're coming from there. That's part of my problem. I see the new shiny. Ali Rose, my writing quality also suffers when I try to multitask. Oh, that's what you're talking. Yeah, I'm completely with that. I'm very much productivity. I used to try and teach productivity. And one of the first things I say to people, and I get into a lot of trouble, usually from the ladies, is no matter what we think, we cannot multitask. We can do one thing, then swap to another thing, but we can't really do two things at the same time. A nice way to try and check this out for yourself is get something that you're reading. Could be a magazine, could be even a newspaper or a book. Be reading it and also try to listen what's on TV at the same time. You can focus on one or the other, but not both at the same time. So, as I know I used to get into trouble for that. Pamela, need to know ink, Appletini, very nice. Yeah, the Appletini is really nice. So I had a more detailed look at that, not last week, but the week before, in my ink comparison video, where I compared Appletini up against Van Diemen's Apple Island Green, which is the ink I normally use in that Custom Heritage 92. But I thought I'd try the Appletini, very nice. Alia Rose, have you seen the new Narwhal Nebulosa Laguna at Goldspot? Gorgeous, but the lack of an ink window is a solid deal breaker in a vacuum filler pen. Strange you should ask about that. That's another one I was pointing to my wife saying, oh, isn't that a nice pen? I said, wouldn't that be nice with a nice double broad nib? But because it's coming from the States, I know it ends up being too expensive. But yeah, I looked at it and I was thinking, shall I not? And then, as you said, no ink window is a bit of an issue. Blonde Scales 1. I tried my Appletini before but didn't like it. I think the nib the pen had might have been the problem. Yeah, so the pilot that I've got in, although it's a medium nib, it's a very, very generous medium. And I do think it is down, a lot of it is down to the nib. So we're getting a really nice wide line coming out of it. And I'm really liking it. Loads of shading coming through. Alia Rose to Blonde Scales 1. Appletini has done well in a medium nib here. Yep, as I say with mine, I think medium's just about right. Pamela, it seems to have nice shading. Yep, it's really pretty. So the paper I was using is Midori MD cotton pad, so it's a nice paper as well. Alia Rose to Pamela, it does, and a very cheerful, springy green. Yeah, it is. I mean, I know we're going into spring, or we are in spring now, so it's a nice one to have in there. That's why there's a few greens in here at the moment. Blonde Scales 1, it will get tried with a different nib one of these days, absolutely. Pamela, want the Pilot E95. I like the nib. Yep, the nib's beautiful. It writes so well. I know I keep saying this. It's one of my favourite. Pamela, cannot multitask. Exactly. David, what are some good, inexpensive fountain pens that I can give to my high school students who see me using my pens and get interested in writing with them? I had some Pilots, but are there any others that are inexpensive? I've got the exact one to recommend for you. So it's a Jinhao 992. $2.22. You can get them a bit cheaper than that now, I think. Loads of different colours. There's transparent colours. There's solid colours. Comes with the Jinhao converter. I think it takes standard international cartridges. I've never tried it, so I can't 100% say that that's true. Dirt cheap. Writes really well. Yes, it's a fine nib, but that's okay. I think this is a perfect enabling pen. And I always have one inked up, so now that this is empty, I'll link up another one. And if anybody ever asks me, it's one that I'm saying, like, hey, have this. You can keep it. You know, at that price, you know, and then what I do is every so often I'll go and buy another 5. Atomic Elf 1, multitasking only really works with things that we've trained ourselves to do on autopilot. Yeah, I mean, when I'm doing, when you're doing like cleaning or housework or whatever they call it nowadays, you can listen to music, or I listen to podcasts. I find that works not too bad. As you say, you're on autopilot. You're not really thinking about what you're doing. You're just dusting, you're just being careful. David, I was using Pilot disposables until I gave them away. Blonde Scales 1, Preppies. Yeah, Preppies a good choice. And again, you've got a little bit of difference there that you can pick for nib size. Jim to David, have you looked at the disposables from Pilot, like the Varsity or the Zebra fountain pens? Do you know, that's something I need to try out. Let me make a note. I've never tried a Varsity yet. Pilot Varsity. I've made a note of that. That could be one, again, to look for next year. Maybe see if I can find a number of disposables. Atomic Elf 1. Otherwise, you're just like a computer switching back quickly from this task and the other and back again, which can get exhausting. Absolutely. And this is one of the things I used to say to people. Every time you switch tasks, it's really, really bad for you. Something as silly as you're in the middle of doing something, you're really getting into the flow, and your phone rings and you answer it. In fact, sometimes you don't even need to answer it, just the fact of it ringing. And it can take you about 10 minutes to get back to where you were, just from that 2 or 3 second interruption. So one of the things I tell people, put your phone on silent. If it's important, they'll leave you a message. Just get them used to the fact that you'll get back. My messages are on silent. My phone's on silent. I'm doing what I do. I finish what I'm doing. I go and check it. So at least once an hour, I check my phone. If there's anything on there, I'll return the call or reply to the message. Emails. Turn off notifications and turn off the number badge if you can. I've got to be honest, I keep the number badge on my iPad, but that's because I use the iPad more as a recreation device as opposed to actually working. But on my Mac, which is what I work on, I've got no notifications from email, and after emails are in there. Sorry, we're jumping now into productivity. Chris, I don't like fine nibs for that reason generally. Absolutely. I'm really enjoying the broad and 1.1 stub nibs at the moment. I do have a pen on the way, which has got, I think it's a Fude nib. I can't 100% remember, but it's 1.0 up to 1.4, I think. Really looking forward to that coming. That should hopefully come next week. I got that from AliExpress. David, I had some Varsity pens, but they are kind of pricey when you buy a whole box. Absolutely, I can see where that's coming from as well. David, thanks, Gary. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's what we're here for. This is part of the reason for this, is to share information. Jim, my local Walmart that carries the zebras, and they're about $6 each. About $6 in a blister pack of 3 for about $2 each. Wow, that's good value. Ali Rose, also Jinhao Shark. I don't have a Jinhao Shark. That's something I need to fix. I'll have to maybe look at that next time I do an order. I keep hearing about people, but it's just something I've never really got around to buying. Chris, yep, Jinhao pens and Daytone inks from India, about 4 cents a milliliter. Wow, that's good value. That's why I like my diamine inks. I think they're good value usually as well. David, in the States, who's the best source for Jinhao? I've got to be honest, I think you're best buying from... I buy from AliExpress. I've not really seen many on Temu. Don't know if there's any retailers that do them. But yeah, I always just get mine from AliExpress. David, thanks Chris, thanks Jim. Alia Rose, cheapest is order from AliExpress and commit to the 2 to 3 week wait. Yeah, that's what I do. Jim to David, I've gotten most from AliExpress, but Goulet pens carry the Jinhao Shark. David, okay, thanks. David again, okay, I've got an account at Goulet, I'll give them a look, thanks. Atomic Elf 1, the Pilot Varsity isn't bad. I like the Zebra as well, but I've had multiple where the cap's cracked, so wouldn't recommend. Yeah, so this is why I want to do a video where I might look at that. I think it's a brilliant idea. Blonde Scales 1, I've seen Shark multi-packs on Amazon. David, wow, glad I asked. Thanks everyone. Yay, loads of options there now. Okay, let's head on back to the iPad. Let me start this presentation going. Let me make that full screen. So iPad, it's not on my shortcut button, so I've got to go and do this one manually to swap it over. iPad screen, there we go. And let me turn off that comment. So last week's videos. On Sunday, we had the fountain pen focus heat number 6, which we've already looked at and we've seen the results. Tuesday, I talked about various pens that are vacuum fillers from my collection. This is part of this ongoing series I'm doing. I'm really enjoying it, where I'm pulling out 5 pens from my collection and then just talking about them in a video. And one of the things that I'm trying to do, I thought I got rid of that comment. There we go. One of the things I'm trying to do with it when I'm doing these is pull out pens that I haven't used for a while. I'm going to be filming one tomorrow, and in there I've got 2 pens that I haven't used for quite a while. So it's allowing me to explore, other pens in my collection again, which I think is quite good. It was Friday that I had that Appletini versus Van Diemen ink comparison. So yeah, if you want to look a bit more at Appletini, look at Friday's video. I've been playing around a little bit with my video descriptions and with the thumbnails. You may have noticed that some videos have got the new thumbnails, where you now, unfortunately, you get this picture of me on it, as well as the pen and a nice fancy background, and I've played around a little bit with the writing. Love to get feedback as you see these for what people are thinking. I'm just trying to make... I was feeling that the old ones were they were very bland. I'm not a graphic designer, so this is why I'm trying something different. And then with the titles, when I upload to YouTube, I use a service called vidIQ, and as part of that, they give me 12 free AI suggestions for a title for a video. So I've been using that and going through the suggestions and seeing if there's any which actually like draw my interest. The idea is just to give it, a little bit of a more interesting district or title, because one of the things YouTube tell you is your thumbnail and your title are two of the most important things to think about, because that's what grabs people's attention. So again, I'd love to get people's feedback as you start seeing these running through, what you think of them. Helps if I use the right keyboard. So next week's videos. So today we've got heat number 7. So that's the first of the over 100 Aussie dollar pens. Be interesting to see how this one goes. On Tuesday, we've got the first impressions of the Faber-Castell Hexo. So here it is. Yeah, you can. You have got the camera on this one. There we go. I'm actually going to be using this pen all week as my comment response pen. So you'll see it writing from today. You would have actually seen it in today's short, tomorrow's short. Today's Facebook posts and Facebook. Where do I post things to? Instagram, Facebook, Mastodon, and Blue Sky. I do not post to Twitter or X. I will read them. I've got an account there. I read stuff on there, but I just do not like the direction they've gone. So I no longer support them by posting, because I'm not going to give them free content. But I do post to all the others. So if you follow on any of those, I'm on all of them. I'm at my name, so Garry Eves, GARRYEVES. If you can't find one on any particular service, check in my video descriptions, because in most of the videos I do include a link to my various social media accounts. So I look forward to seeing you on them. Oh, and I'm also on TikTok. That's the other one I'm on. I don't think I've got that on my videos. I'll have to check that. Check TikTok. So that's Tuesday, and then Friday, pen comparisons. Interesting one. I've got it filmed now. What I'm doing is I'm comparing a ballpoint pen, a rollerball pen, a pencil, a gel pen, and a fountain pen. So yeah, it might be quite interesting. I really enjoyed doing that one. It's nice to look at these things. And then, oops, wrong keyboard again. My book of the week. So I'm reading Severed Souls by Terry Goodkind. I'm 85% of the way through, so it won't be tonight, most probably tomorrow night that I finish that. Once I've finished that, I'm then going back to Terry Pratchett. I think it's The Truth is the next one. Really enjoying this one. A lot of adventure in it. It's quite fast moving for a Terry Pratchett, for a Terry Goodkind of book. And it's interesting because there's only one more book left, I believe, in this Sword of Truth series. So we're moving towards like a final conclusion, which I think is good. So yeah, quite enjoying that. So let's go back to the camera. I'll just clear that off my screen for the minute in case I need to go back there. Back to the comments. Chris, the shark is about $1 US on AliExpress. Yeah, I do find that AliExpress really, really cheap. Blonde Scales 1, get a mixed bag of cheap pens so they have a choice. That's a good idea as well. Sorry, I've just finished my tea. I was in my Spider-Man mug. Now onto my glass. We've got Batman today. And you can tell now the weather's getting warm. I'm not going to tip it up. But I've got ice in the glass to help keep me cool. Robin Allen, hello everyone. Sorry I was late. Just digging out from Hurricane Milton in southwest Florida. I hope everything's going all right for you. I did talk very briefly earlier on. Absolutely frightening. I mean, fortunately, where I live, we don't get, here they're called cyclones, I think it is, which is similar to the hurricane. The hurricanes spin one direction because we're in the northern hemisphere. Cyclones spin in the other direction because we're in the southern hemisphere. We get the tail ends of them, but the actual hit land about, I want to say about 1,000 kilometers away from where we actually live. That's why I'm saying we only get the tail ends, which are never that bad. But my heart goes out to everybody affected by these hurricanes lately. And Robin, I hope everything is fine for you and the people you know. Pamela, I was only able to buy the 10 for Ginner, hopefully that's pronounced right. I was only able to buy the 10 from them, but Temu carries most of the other models. Do you know one of the things I'm finding with Temu, because I use AliExpress and Temu Australia, we don't get a lot of choice in fountain pens. I do keep looking. I look every week for them, but never really seen anything there that I can't get for cheaper from AliExpress. Adia Rose to Robin Yates. Hope you're all doing okay. Blonde Scales 1. No worries. Glad you're okay. Thankfully you're well enough to join us, which is good. Pamela, but getting 2 Jinhao 80 pens for 10 bucks is unreal. Absolutely. The Jinhao 80 is the pen that I've got as my fountain pen in Friday's comparison of different pen types. Robin, thanks for the well wishes. I was very lucky compared to some. Jim, my one and only Faber-Castell is a silver hexo. Yeah, I went for the blue when I was ordering it. I thought, a nice dark blue pen. Very light. I'm just going to make hexo v Safari / AL Star. I've just made a note. I'll put into the database after this to do a video looking at the hexo versus either the Safari or the All Star. That should be quite an interesting one. Blonde Scales 1, wooden or mechanical pencil? Wooden, dirt cheap wooden one. Let me see if I've got it handy. Here we go. I think I bought it from, might have been Big W or Kmart. It's a HB pencil. I don't have a mechanical one. But yeah, still looking forward to that. David, Amazon has a student set of Jinhao 992s for $13.99 US. Thanks for the help, everyone. Awesome. I do like Amazon. Wayward Satellite. Have you read the Sun Eater series? Really good sci-fi book series, starting with Empire of Silence. I haven't. Empire of Silence. Sun Eater series. Again, I've just made a note of that. Alia Rose, I'm rereading Lord of the Rings. Perfect for autumn. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've read my Lord of the Rings. The book is very, very old and crumbly. It's one of those ones that I brought to Australia with me when we moved from the UK. Just finished watching on Amazon Prime the prequel series number 2. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoying seeing the origin of Sauron. I think that's really interesting. And of The Stranger. I think The Stranger story is really good. And I'm not going to say anything in case people haven't seen it. But the last scene with him in the last episode of season 2, I thought was absolutely awesome. I really liked it. It was a simple scene, but to me, it was such an important scene. Pamela, first time, good time, thanks much. David, yep, that's a Coriolis effect. I do have a video on my Tricky Little Questions channel about the Coriolis effect and how it impacts not just the weather, but the circulation of the oceans. And I think it's about a 10-minute long video where I go into that. Robin, it was a couple of harrowing days watching it come. I'm on the Gulf Coast right in the cone and unable to evacuate. Whole neighbourhoods were wiped out. I'm glad to be part of this normalcy. Yeah, one of the things I saw during the week, I'm guessing it was a church building, a wooden one, just torn away. Oh, I was absolutely horrified watching it, and I can't imagine what it was like living through it. Robin, I've got the Hexer in a chocolate brown. It's a pleasant pen. Yeah, that's when I'm writing my little notes at the moment. It's actually the hexagon I'm using. Very, very smooth nib. Pamela, do you like Stephen R. Donaldson, the Thomas Covenant series? Absolutely, love them. When I first got into fantasy books, the first ones I read was The Lord of the Rings, not The Hobbit. I didn't read The Hobbit till a lot later, but I read The Lord of the Rings first. And where I worked in a petrol station. At the time, they were attended stations, so you went and filled people up. But obviously, there was times when you would be sat there with nothing to do. So I was reading my book, The Lord of the Rings. And one of the people in the car sales part of the station saw what I was reading and recommended the Thomas Covenant series. So that series was the second series that I read, or second, fantasy author that I read. Absolutely loved them. Then after that, I read a David Eddings book, The Start of the Belgaria. Is it the Belgariad? Yeah. Absolutely love that. I love David Eddings. He's the one and only author where when he released a book, I would buy it in hardback on the day it was released. I would go home, I'd take the day off everything I was doing, and I would read it, and I wouldn't put it down until I was finished. They weren't overly big books anyway, so it was something you could do quite comfortably. But absolutely loved the books he did. Let me refresh the comments again. Have we got anything else coming? David, when Milton hit, I believe it was the fifth most powerful hurricane to hit the Atlantic basin ever. Blonde Scales 1. Did the house that was strapped down survive? Chris, Thomas Covenant books ruined my life for about 3 months. Yeah, right, I'm going to show you this. I don't actually have it on my finger at the moment. This is my wedding ring. And very deliberate when we bought this. The outside band's there, 14 karat gold, but the inside there is white gold. Deliberately bought that because of the Thomas Covenant books. That's what I chose. So, yeah, nice little bit of trivia there about Garry. Chris, that was about 1983, sorry. Yeah, I would say, when did I get into Thomas Covenant books? I was about 16. So it'd be about 1985, 1986 time. Blonde Scales 1. When I was in elementary school, my dad read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings to me and my brother. Yeah, I read The Hobbit later on, and I quite enjoyed that. But I don't know why I picked The Lord of the Rings. I think it's because it was not one of those books you heard about all the time. And that's really what drew me to it. Obviously you go for the ones that people are talking about. And it's just started a real love for not for books, I already loved books, but for fantasy. The one thing I will say with The Lord of the Rings, first time I read it, it took me about 3 months to read the first 100 pages because I found it was just hard going. But once I got in, I finished the rest of the book in about 2 months. It took me that long to really get into it. And the one I had, it's about this thick because it's all three of the is it 3 books? It's all of the books, all in one volume. David, I'm glad you were all right. I am glad you are all right. That was a monster storm. God was watching out for everyone on this one. Absolutely. Pamela, yes. Pamela, I love your wedding ring. Absolutely. I say it's the reason I took it off is when I had an issue earlier this year, my hand swelled up. So I managed to get the ring off, and it now sits in front of me on my desk in front of my computer screen, so I see it every day. Blonde Scales 1, ambitious reading for kids our age back then. Do you know, I think I agree with you there in one way. I know it's going to sound horrible, but do you think that kids nowadays, I'm not going to say love for reading, but their patience for reading has dropped away? We've got all this instant media. I mean, I can remember going back a long, long time, we only had 3 TV channels. I can remember in the UK when Channel 4 launched, and I remember watching it. I watching Countdown with Richard Whiteley on that was the first program they broadcast on Channel 4. So I think, did we have more? I don't know how best to describe it, but did we have more that we read because we weren't as distracted, we weren't as having our attention drawn all over the place. My son, he's now 28. We instilled in him from being very, very young a love for reading, and now he very rarely watches telly. He'll read. He's reading stuff from, I want to say, China that's been translated into English at the moment, but he just sits there and read and read and read. Sorry, I'm just after. David, I really like C.S. Lewis. Yeah, we've got the C.S. Lewis book. Oh, we had in the UK. They're in the UK. We left them in the UK, so chances are they've been got rid of by now with the people we left them with. The only one I've read is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And I read Prince Caspian many, many years ago. Ali Rose, my dad kept a technical manual for the family car at his bedside. Not a reader, no. I've got to be honest, the only books I can ever remember my dad reading are the James Herriot books. Well, my mother used to read a lot. She used to read them Mills and Boons, or them soppy, lovey, romantic crap things. But yeah, absolutely. Even now, I read for about an hour every night. And I talk about the books on here because I thought that's quite interesting. I thought it's something to fetch to the channel because they're very much related. Blonde Scales 1, we both got the bookworm gene from our parents. Wendy Sue, hi friends, welcome to you, Wendy Sue. We've got a couple of hellos there. And Robin. Blonde Scales 1, 4 channels growing up, absolutely. I remember, yeah, we had BBC 1, BBC 2 and ITV. And I remember, I must have been about 9 years old. There was a strike. So we had no TV for a while. And I also remember we had black and white TVs. I'm really showing my age now. Chris, I read Lord of the Rings myself when I was 9. That was quite an experience. I'm not sure many kids these days read books. Absolutely, I can completely see that. But most kids are at least literate. One must be to text. Absolutely. Again, I can completely agree with you there. They are literate. They can read. They can write. I just think it's attention spans. David, my sister-in-law had 4 boys and they had no television in the house growing up. Yeah, I remember, again, I'm going back to when I was younger, we had a teacher. Again, I must have been about 8 or 9. And she didn't have TVs in the house. She wouldn't allow them. Blonde Scales 1. In 4th grade, my brother had to bring in a poem and he chose one from Lord of the Rings. Awesome. The one poem I'd love to read to really get to know it. It's Jabberwocky. That's one of the few poems I really, really enjoy. Beware the Jabberwock, my son. It's about the only line from it I can remember now. And then the other one I can remember is a Wordsworth, The Daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud through golden... I can't remember. Then all at once I came upon a host of golden daffodils. I remember that one. Again, showing my age. Robin, I was always a reader. Read Lord of the Rings in 8th grade. I've got a 60-year-old brother that still has never read a book. Do you know, I love it. Why I love fantasy, it takes me out of the world. Whereas I've read some books which are like set in modern times, set around, and I don't enjoy them as much because I think I can relate too much to what's going on. But reading fantasy, especially when you get someone who's really good at building the worlds and building the characters, I just lose myself and I go into that world. David, Robin, yes, it was a miracle. And then Blonde Scales 1, confused his teacher until my mum said Dad was reading the books to us. I bet he did. Wayward Satellite. Between making more time for reading and using Audible, I have made it through more books this year than I have in the last few years combined. Yeah, I don't use Audible as much as I used to. I worked for a lot of years in Perth, and I used to drive in. It was about, well, depending on traffic, it could be anywhere from an hour to an hour and 3/4 to get in. So I used to listen to audiobooks a lot in the car. Just had my headphones in my ears listening to audiobooks, sat in traffic. Don't really listen to them now. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I read. I haven't got the device here. I read a lot on the Kobo. Why I use the Kobo? I used to use the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite, but the Kobo I use because you can actually read books that you borrow from the local library. So there's a system called Libby or Overdrive, and as long as your library is signed up to it, you can borrow ebooks and you can read them on your phone. There's a Libby app on your iPads, on Android, I think. But the Kobos let you do that, whereas the Kindles here don't. I believe in the US, you can read Libby books through a Kindle. So don't know why they don't do it here. Oh, sorry. So that's why I got the Kobo. And I say I love reading. Alia Rose, my husband and I share our Kindle library. My wife hates reading ebooks. She's not really into technology at all. We're very much chalk and cheese there. For me, everything should be technology, whereas with my wife, absolutely hates it. We had a TV for about 8 years, and she never once learned how to use it. I yet to do it all for her. I'm saying that quietly in case she's listening. Blonde Scales 1. All the books I had to read in school were ones that made me happiest. Was The Hobbit in seventh grade. Yeah, The Hobbit's really nice. I must have been in my 20s, maybe even my 30s when I first read it. Blonde Scales 1. It was also the only one I'd read before. Pamela, do you remember Piers Anthony and Xanth? Yeah, again, never read any of them, but I do certainly. I know I kept looking at them and thinking, shall I? And then I ended up buying something else. Garry, have you ever read any by Ursula K. Le Guin? I haven't. Again, they're ones I would like to read. She was one of the, back in the, I'm going to say back in the day, but I believe she was one of the ones who really brought fantasy into the mainstream. Alia Rose, I was obsessed with Xanth as a teen. Blonde Scales 1, I'd like to reread Xanth. Robin, I use Kindle on my phone. Does anyone know if it's hard on your phone to download a bunch of books? I think it's quite easy with Kindle. I'm not sure though. I haven't really tried it. I had the Paperwhite, which I took everywhere, but now I take the Kobo with me. It just fits in my cargo pants trousers pocket, and once now I've got my shorts out, it fits into the cargo shorts pocket and goes with me everywhere. Blonde Scales 1, Xanth is full of puns. I haven't read them. It's like everything. I've got a massive list of books I want to read. Let me just fetch this up over here. Let me make that full screen. We'll go back to the iPad, and what I'll do is I'll just, as we're live here, I'm just going to disable that. Can I make this full screen? No, by the look of it, I can't. But anyway, this is in Apple Notes, and I keep in here by author all the books that I've either read or would like to read. As you can see, there's a massive list. So at the moment, I'm going through Terry Goodkind, so they're all the ones I've still got to go. Anne Cleeves, started reading some of hers. She's a crime writer. She, if you've seen the TV series Vera or Shetland, they're based on her books. Dracula was quite good. I remember reading that. I read that a while ago. As you can see there, it was on an audiobook. There's some fiction, so this is where I keep the list of books that I want to read. It's forever growing. Wow, we're going long today. David, Frostthur Plus by Piers Anthony was the best sci-fi comedy I ever read. Yeah, I don't read much sci-fi. I do read some, but not a lot. I've got Piers Anthony down here. Let me look at Piers Anthony. I just made a note there down on my paper. I love getting these recommendations. Right, that's the end of the comments. So I'll start my wrap up, then come back to the comments. So thank you all for your time today. Remember, there's membership available. Head on over to my YouTube page. There you'll see a link to join the channel. Everything from the membership goes back into the channel, so into buying, other pens and stuff to use. I release my videos 2 days early to members, so members in not long after, well, about an hour or so after this finishes, will get the video that's going out on Tuesday. Whilst remember, I've been playing around with the times I release my videos. So my Tuesday and Friday videos I've been putting out at 6:30 in the morning my time, which I think is about tea time-ish or dinner time-ish over in the States. Let me know what you think of that. Is that better for you? The only one I'm not thinking about changing is the Sunday, because I don't want it to impact with this if I have them like too close together. So remember, they get videos early. I've started doing once a month a Zoom call, and I've also started doing, we'll be starting doing once a month doing the AMA questions videos. I've actually been doing my planning for next year, so I've got my dates. There you are, planned up for my AMAs and Zooms for next year. I like to get this done nice and early so that I know what I'm doing next year. And then what I do a week before each one, I actually get something come up in my reminders telling me about it. So that's the membership. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. So back to the comments. Robin, as expensive as phones are, I don't want to wear out the battery prematurely. I love Anne Cleeves. I buy a lot of used books on eBay. Yeah, I've got, a while back I showed my bookshelf. I've got loads of books. I've got loads and loads and loads more left in the UK. I did have. I'm guessing they've all been got rid of now. But I'm finding I'm getting more into, I say, the Kobo. It's purely convenience. But I think there's nothing beats sometimes reading a paper book, the tactileness of it. And Blonde Scales 1, I'm keeping a list of books I've read this year, plus ones I want to read, and then have a list for next year's books due out then. Yeah, the other thing I do use is there's a website called Goodreads. So I have an account on there, and that's where I track the books I've read. So I know already this year I've read 20 books. A couple of days' time it'll be 21, which is handy to know. Massive shout out and thank you to Alia Rose. Super thanks, super stickers, very much appreciated. I say it all goes back into the channel, so thank you so much for that. Blonde Scales 1, check your local library for used books. Yeah, our local library for me is about a 20-25 minute drive away, and I've got to be honest, it doesn't have a lot of books. I remember growing up in the UK, in Scarborough, which is a town I grew up in. The library there was massive. It had a massive range of books. Teenage fantasy, they didn't have a lot of, because obviously I used to go and I borrowed some books from there, but they didn't have that big a choice. But I remember as a young kid going there each week. They had a separate room for children's books, and going in there, and I can remember that it's the smell that more than anything else, the whole atmosphere of it. David, how does the Zoom call work? So what I'll be doing for that, at the moment I'm planning on doing one on Saturday, or the coming Saturday. So I'll put up a members only video, very, very short, on Wednesday. Chances are there'll be no talking on it, just saying Zoom call coming up. Then in the description for that, there'll be a link to the Zoom call. So look out for that. That should come out Wednesday or Thursday. I'm not sure yet. I'm aiming for Wednesday, but I said, it depends how busy I get during the week. But the idea is we'll do that next Saturday. It'll start at the same time that I normally do these videos. And it lasts for half an hour, which is the maximum amount of time you can do on a free Zoom call. And then so you just connect in, and that way, while like Zoom, we can do proper chatting, so we can chat backwards and forwards rather than having to type. I know Discord do something similar, but I haven't really had time to really play around with Discord. That's something that's on my list to do, but I keep putting it off. Robin, my local, seems to keep mostly new releases. Blonde Scales 1, have a great week all. Pamela, this works for me. Blonde Scales 1, my library has a few shelves with books for sale all the time, depends on what is donated. Yeah, I can remember they used to have book sales at the local library, when I grew up. Blonde Scales 1, growing up, we went to the used book sale at the Little Rock Library twice a year. They had a huge room in the basement for that. Yeah, as say to me, reading, if anything ever happened to my sight and I couldn't read, I think I'd be lost. I mean, it's bad enough now I've got cataract in this eye, which makes it hard to read, certainly books with smaller text, which again, why the Kobo is brilliant, because I can make the text bigger. But if I could read, I'd be really, really lost. To me, reading is so awesome. Pamela, you're a white gold wielder. I respect you. Awesome, thanks. I'll just do another check. Okay, I'll leave the comments open as we wrap up whilst the outro is playing. So thank you everybody for your time today. I know we've gone a little bit long. I love doing these. So please drop any comments. I've just seen another one come in. My dad went straight to the textbooks first. From Blonde Scales 1. Yeah, I think my dad might have done as well, but I can never really remember him reading. So thank you all. Love doing this. I'll talk to you again soon.